Hey guys, in this video we're going to talk about a prophecy of the Drowned God raising and destroying Aegon Targaryen that is yet to be fulfilled. Game of Thrones is coming to its end. April 2019 is when we'll be seeing the final 6 episodes of the show, which are said to be extra long and sure to be jam-packed with an action the series has been building to. What makes Game of Thrones one of the best shows ever is its unpredictability. No one is safe, but at the same time all the events have been heavily foreshadowed, which you only notice upon rewatching it multiple times, and after the foreshadow event has already happened. When you watch other TV shows, you might assume that the main character will make it out alive and that evil will be defeated, more or less. Yet with Game of Thrones, things don't always turn out this way. So when Ramsay Bolton once told Theon, if you think this has a happy ending, you have not been paying attention. He wasn't lying. That said, fans had and still in fact have plenty of time to rewatch the show countless times and try to find every little hint that might be foreshadowing some of the main character's tragic fate. In fact, fans already did find some major hints possibly foreshadowing Jon Snow's fate. It's an already mentioned prophecy of Drowned God raising and destroying Aegon Targaryen. The Drowned God represents Euron Greyjoy and he will in Season 8 destroy Aegon Targaryen, Jon Snow, or at least in this theory. Prophecies, visions and dreams concerning the past, present or future form an important part of the narrative in the Song of Ice and Fire novels. Many of them were omitted from the Game of Thrones TV series, although several have gradually been introduced. George R. R. Martin has pointed out that the prophecies are often so vague that they can frequently be interpreted in contradictory ways, to the point that they are not useful as a guide future, save for the meanings that the people themselves apply to their words. As Martin said himself, prophecy is a staple element in fantasy, but it's tricky. You want to play with the notion of prophecies coming true, but in an unexpected way. You want to be unpredictable about it. With that in mind, let's continue with the theory. In Season 7, Episode 5, Archmaester Rebros and the other Maesters discuss Bran Stark's letter warning that the Night King's army is marching south towards Eastwatch by the sea. He and other Maesters are skeptical of this report and dismiss Samwell efforts to vouch for Bran. Rebros himself thinks that the letter could be disinformation spread by the self-proclaimed Queen Daenerys Targaryen. They agree to investigate his claims and to send a letter to Winterfell inquiring into Bran's claims. However, the most interesting part happens when Sam leaves the room and the Maesters start discussing, or should I say making fun of prophecies, one of them being the prophecy of Lordos, which states that the Drowned God will rise up and defeat Aegon. The Drowned God would rise up and destroy Aegon the Conqueror, the prophecy claimed. In this theory, the prophecy was not wrong but was misinterpreted about the wrong Aegon. In Season 7, it was revealed that Jon Snow is actually Aegon Targaryen. In Episode 5 of the same season, simultaneously overheard the Maester discuss a prophecy from Lordos that the Drowned God will return to destroy Aegon the Conqueror. Euron Greyjoy refers to himself as the Drowned God multiple times. So we have Jon Snow, whose real name is Aegon Targaryen. We also have Euron Greyjoy, who often refers to himself as the Drowned God. And after all, we also received an old prophecy of the Drowned God raising and destroying Aegon Targaryen that is yet unfulfilled. It could just be a throwaway line, or it could foreshadow one of the finale's biggest and most shocking moments. All of this led some fans to conclude that Euron will be the one to destroy Jon in the end. The theory has mixed feelings. Some fans can see this happen and would not be disappointed with the show, while others can't and would be pretty disappointed with the descent for Jon Snow. Some say they could see Jon dying after he's defeated the Night King and after he's got Dany pregnant with a Targaryen child. So basically, as long as Jon's line is continued and as long as Jon's done his part in the Great War, some fans would be okay with it. Other users point out they would be disappointed if this theory was to come true, since Euron is a minor character to take down Jon. To their response, supporters of this theory point out that the show often pulls this move. Eddard Stark was beheaded as a traitor by a boy king, and Jon's love Ygritte was shot down by a young child with a bow and arrow. Bore ended story of King Robert. As one fan explained, once his purpose is complete, I think anything can end him. If there's no more story to tell, they could face any possible end, no matter how big their character is. These feelings kinda match with what Game of Thrones stars said about its ending. Many will be happy with it, many will not. Sophie Turner, an actress that portrays Sansa Stark, had this to say about the Game of Thrones final season. I think a lot of fans will be disappointed, and a lot of fans will be over the moon. In my opinion, Euron Greyjoy will be one of the biggest villains of the final season, right behind Cersei and the Night King. Will he be the one to put an end to Jon Snow's story? I do believe that the prophecy of the Drowned God raising and destroying Aegon Targaryen will be fulfilled. In Season 6, Euron says multiple times that he's a Drowned God. In Season 7, we hear about his prophecy, and in the Season 7 finale, we learn Jon's true name is Aegon. I believe that in this prophecy, the Drowned God represents Euron Greyjoy, and he will in Season 8 destroy Aegon Targaryen, Jon Snow. Although I believe that this prophecy will come true, I don't believe Euron will destroy Jon Snow literally, as most prophecies never come true literally. How I see this prophecy happening is Euron destroying Aegon in terms of a battle. Euron's army will destroy Jon's army, and Euron might even take Jon hostage, but he will most certainly not be the one to put an end to Jon Snow, at least in my opinion. The next popular theory I'm going to talk about in this video is about the dragon being underneath Winterfell. Some fans of Game of Thrones believe that a literal dragon is living underneath the Stark castle of Winterfell, deep within the crypts. We already know the crypts of Winterfell are huge and full of mystery, but containing dragon does seem unbelievable, or at least at first. Once you actually start digging, it turns out where there's smoke, there's fire. Let me give you a quick summary of all the evidence that led people think there might be a dragon in Winterfell. The ancestral seat of House Stark is built directly over hot springs. Here's a quote about it from Game of Thrones The Catelyn 2 chapter. The castle had been built over natural hot springs, and the scalding water rushed through its walls and chambers like blood through a man's body, drawing the chill from the stone halls, filling the glass gardens with a moist warmth, keeping the earth from freezing. Open pools smoked day and night in a dozen small courtyards. That was a little thing. In summer, in winter, it was the difference between life and death. These hot springs are heated, the Maesters say, by the furnaces of the world, which appear only in 2 other places in the entire world. Both of those places are associated with, you guessed it, dragons. Here's a description from the World of Ice and Fire, an in-universe history book that presents the expansive backstory of the known world of Westeros and beyond, the Winterfell chapter. Hot springs such as the one beneath Winterfell have been shown to be heated by the furnace of the world, the same fires that made the 14 Flames or the smoking mountain of Dragonstone. If you don't know, the 14 Flames are located in Valyria where dragons were first discovered, and Dragonstone is where the Targaryens lived before Aegon the Conqueror decided to invade all of Westeros. As it turns out, it's not only fans who believe there might be a dragon underneath Winterfell, it's also the small folk of Winterfell who feel the same. Both the small folk of Winterfell and the small folk of Wintertown, a town located just outside of Winterfell itself, have been known to claim that the springs are heated by the breath of a dragon that sleeps beneath the castle. And the small folk are not the only ones who speak of dragon activity below Winterfell. Mushroom, who was the court fool for some very important Targaryens, also thought there was a dragon activity below the castle. As Mushroom was the court fool and a dwarf, people believed him to be a lackwit, causing nobles to speak more freely around him. Mushroom's testimony was written down by an unknown writer. The account is filled with Mushroom's tales of plots, deaths, trysts, and debaucheries, among other things. The stories are in the most explicit detail. Septon Eustace has written an account, The Reign of King Viserys, first of his name, and the Dance of the Dragons that came after, covering many of the same events that are described in Mushroom's account. And while often the two disagree on how events occurred, at times they do agree. Copies of the testimony of Mushroom were burned on orders of King Baelor the First Targaryen, although some have survived to be referred to in Archmaester Gildane's histories. The testimony of Mushroom alleged that the Prince Jacaerys Velaryon came to Winterfell at the start of the Dance of the Dragons, where Max laid dragon eggs in the depths of the crypts where hot springs are near the walls. Archmaester Gildane rejects the idea. Here's one quote about his claim from the World of Ice and Fire. We can dismiss Mushroom's claim in his testimony that the dragon Wormax left a clutch of eggs somewhere in the depths of Winterfell's crypts, where the waters of the hot springs run close to the walls, while his writer treated with Gragan Stark at the start of the Dance of the Dragons. Remember that the World of Ice and Fire is written as history from a single Maester's perspective, so just because that particular Maester dismisses Mushroom's claim doesn't mean that it's not true. All of this brings us to something quite peculiar that happens in the books when Winterfell is burned down by Ramsay Bolton. At the time of the fire, Bran is warged into his direwolf, who is in the Godswood of Winterfell. Through his direwolf's eyes, Bran sees what appears to be a dragon. This is described in the Clash of the Kings in the Bran's 7th chapter. The smoke and ash clouded his eyes, and in the sky he saw a great winged snake, whose roar was a river of flame. He bared his teeth, but then the snake was gone. There has been some debate among the readers as to exactly what Bran saw in the sky. Some believe that it was simply fire and smoke in the shape of a dragon, or even the Red Comet, while others believe that Bran saw a real dragon in the sky. So basically what we got here are rumors. Rumor among the small folk that the springs are heated by the breath of a dragon that sleeps beneath the castle, which originates from another rumor that Jacaerys Velaryon dreamed Vermax left eggs at Winterfell down in the crypts, when Jacaerys went north to get the Starks to support his mother Rhaenyra during the Dance of the Dragons. The fact that the Maester writing The World of Ice and Fire dismisses the presence of dragon eggs at Winterfell means that there probably are eggs at Winterfell, hatched or unhatched. By this theory, there are still eggs or an egg in the crypt somewhere waiting to be found, or an egg left in the crypt hatched and the dragon has been under the castle ever since. And in this case, the idea is that the hot springs heated the egg to the point where it could hatch, rather than the other theory of the dragon being the source of the hot springs. What we know for sure is that there's at least one dragon that's been in Winterfell for years, Jon Snow himself, the Ice Dragon. In conclusion, both of these theories that I introduced you with in this video are some of the most popular theories going into Season 8. Is an old prophecy going to be fulfilled, or will the rumors turn into facts will soon be revealed? Will the prophecy of the drowned god raising and destroying Aegon Targaryen turn out to be Euron, who likes to refer to himself as the drowned god destroying Jon Snow, whose real name is Aegon Targaryen? And is there a literal dragon in Winterfell? You decide and let me know your opinion about both theories in the comment section down below. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to subscribe to our channel and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.